Thank you, Zoom Master. Welcome to Leadership Speak, an advanced Toastmaster club for leadership development. We are one of the top 5 clubs globally. I am Paramjit Singh, your Sergeant at Arms, joining in from Dubai, UAE. Our club mission is we provide a sportive and positive learning experience in which members are empowered to develop communication and leadership skills, resulting in greater self confidence and personal growth. A Leadership Speak is a premium club for experienced Toastmasters to become better self directed leaders. We are an advanced club focused primarily on leadership development in everything we do. Our timer has a virtual hand raised so we all can immediately see who is keeping the time. Our Toastmaster of the day, who will be leading our meeting, is a humble, servant, agile, dynamic leader. He is the one who knows the way, shows the way, and walks the way. Always on the forefront for everything, every emergency, for everything. It's none other than our president, Toastmaster Holmes. He is a project manager in the Singapore government, and he believes that embodying Agile brings meaning to our work. As we learn, adapt, and improve what we lead, we should all lead with agility. Please help me welcome Toastmaster of the Day, President Holmes. What stage is all yours to President Holmes?
Thank you, SA Paramjit. Members and guests, do you feel you are agile? Agile on the surface, especially for those who are not working in the IT sector, may mean move faster, even faster, catching up with all the pace that's going around, expediting your processes so that your organization may earn more, or in the non-profit setting, serve more. In this meeting, that is not the focus. I acknowledge that speed is important. However, it is not about a blind chase of speed, not bulldozing through what needs to be done. Agile, as we are referring here, has some roots in the software development sector. And what we are referring here is a philosophy whereby we acknowledge that the ultimate purpose of everything we do has to do with our clients, our customers, or the people we are serving. And we want to serve them well, and not only well, continuously well and better. And the way we will do this is to have the humility to acknowledge that wherever we are, there are ways to improve. And we don't have a crystal ball to know what exactly is best. So the way we will do this is a step-by-step practice. We will experiment. We will work iteratively, so that when we receive feedback from our clients, our customers, people we serve, when we better understand the people we serve, we can serve them better. This is the focus of this meeting, and members and guests, by attending this meeting, I will assume you are interested in leadership and you are a leader. That's all this club is about. Leadership development, to become a better self-directed leader. And fellow self-directed leaders here, members and guests, I encourage you, as you listen to all the speeches and all the evaluations today, have a mental checklist. Do you feel you are agile? How can you become a better agile leader? I take a short pause, speaking to the most important people in the meeting room, the guest. The guest book has been posted in the meeting chat. I encourage you to fill up the guest book. Let us know what brought you here, who invited you here. And then we will connect with you toward the end of the meeting. At any time you have any feedback for us, the speakers or the evaluators, feel free to send a private text to the appropriate persons or even participate in the main chat so that we also know what are some of your thoughts and feelings about what is being shared here. Your feedback and your reflections are highly encouraged and are highly welcome. To kickstart our meeting today, we will have a toast. Our toast will be delivered by Guerdah Felix. And Guerdah says this: Agile leadership is about taking ownership. It is about moving together, supporting one another to arrive to the common goal. Guerdah.
Esteemed members and guests, it is an honor to raise a toast to Agile leadership this morning. Agile leadership is simple. It's leading with flexibility, responsiveness, and people at the center, especially when things are not going the way it was planned. At its core, Agile leadership is about adapting quickly, empowering others, and continuously improving while staying grounded in purpose. While staying grounded in purpose. It started with the Agile Manifesto, but today it shows up everywhere. In our clubs, in our work, and in our lives. What does that look like at Leadership Speak? We plan a meeting weeks ahead. Everything is set. And then, bam, plans change. Someone, and sometimes many someones, cannot make it. Roles shift. What do we do as self-directed leaders? Instead of resisting, we adapt. We step in. We support one another. We grow through feedback and reflection. We become leaders with astonishing versatility. We understand that Agile leadership is not about perfect plans. It is about responding wisely when reality shows up. This morning, I invite you to letting go of perfect plans, to trusting the moment, and to leading and living with presence, flexibility, and heart. Esteemed members and guests, please turn on your camera, unmute your microphone, and raise your glass to Agile leadership.
To agile
Agile leadership.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Back to you, Toastmaster of the Day.
Thank you, Guerdah. Supporting our meeting today, we also have some role takers, which I will introduce them. First of all, we have our timer, who is Nellie Jane Galido. Nellie Jane believes that agile leadership is leadership in motion. Let's have Nellie introduce the role of the timer.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster of the Day. Good day, my fellow Toastmasters and our honorable guests. I am your timer for today's meeting, and I will time each speaker according to agenda and use three virtual background colors, which is green, yellow, and red. After each segment, I will post the timing results once called upon on the chat. Thank you so much, and back to you, Toastmaster of the Day.
Thank you, Nellie Jane. The next member who is supporting this meeting is Nellie Ayodo. Nellie Ayodo believes that agile leadership, at its essence, it's about being adaptive and being inclusive. Nellie Ayodo, let's have you introduce the role of the grammarian.
Fellow Toastmasters and guests, my role today as a grammarian is to pay close attention to the language usage. I'll take note of the misuse of the English language, as well as outstanding words, quotes, saying, or thoughts. As the grammarian, it is my role to introduce the word of the day. The word of the day is versatility. Meaning of versatility is, it is a noun, the quality of being nimble, the ability to change easily or be used for different purpose. An example in a sentence is, John was a man of astonishing versatility. Each speaker is encouraged to use the word of the day. I will give a report when I'm called to. I will also post the word of the day in the chat box. Back to you, our Toastmaster.
Thank you, grammarian. In support of our word of the day, I would encourage all members and guests to post one sentence describing a situation where you displayed your own versatility. Let's use the word versatility and think in terms of situations where we have been able to be versatile. We are about to move into the highlight of every single leadership speak meeting, most of them, which is the educational speaker. Each week, we invite a member of Leadership Speak to deliver on a leadership topic where he or she strongly believes in, sharing experiences, sharing learnings and reflections from their many years of working as well as volunteering experiences. Before I call her up, I'd like to take a short moment in time to speak again to the most important people in the meeting room, our guest. Guest, by the mere presence you are here, I understand that you are interested in leadership. I'd like to encourage you to reflect. In your leadership, do you have a strong platform that can support your growth to becoming a better self-directed leader, where you have a community that is able to challenge you and as well as motivate you. This is my experience here at Leadership Speak. As I attend the meetings, as I go through the meetings, including the members-only sessions, I have many peers with me that challenges me. Am I growing towards the goal that I want to be? Am I growing towards the vision that I want to be? How is it I'm facing the challenges in my life, as we are all human beings with many challenges? And how am I applying the many aspects of leadership? And this week we are focusing on Agile leadership. If you feel an additional platform, which I did the very first meeting that I joined, will be able to support you and your leadership growth, I highly encourage you, sign in the guest book and indicate that you would like to find out more about the club, and we will speak. Thank you so much. Now, let us go into the highlight of the meeting. I would like to call upon our educational speaker, as well as her evaluator, Gilda Shlah and Tony Bratschitsch, and for Tony to introduce Gilda's project. Tony.
Thank you, Toastmaster of the Day. Fellow Toastmasters and most welcome guests, Gilda Shlah is presenting from the Persuasive Influence Pathway. That's important. Persuasive Influence. Level 5, which is the project is prepare to speak professionally. And the purpose of this project is for Gilda to present a keynote style speech, exemplifying a professional level speaker's point of view or message in a style that supports her speech content. Now, Gilda asked me to pay some special attention to the audience engagement. So hopefully you will leave your cameras on, and through the gallery view, I'll be observing your reaction as Gilda presents her message. Therefore, my goal as the evaluator is to listen for a professional keynote style presentation, to your sustained audience engagement, to Gilda's compelling message. Back to you, Toastmaster of the Day.
Thank you, Tony. About Agile leadership, Gilda has this statement: adapting to change, overcoming challenges, with taking clear steps to achieve the common goal is a skill only Agile leaders have, the taking with clear steps, and it is to achieve the team's goals. Gilda Shlah, Agile leadership, Agile leadership, Gilda Shlah.
Thank you, Toastmaster of the Day, and hello, fellow Toastmasters and distinguished guests. Today, we are talking about a leadership that is not only good to have, but it's a must-have. And that is Agile leadership. If we go through all the leadership styles, we don't see Agile leadership as one of the styles. Why? Because Agile leadership is included in every style of leadership. And that's the importance of being agile leader. Let me put it that to you in a clear form or picture. Bamboo tree. Does everybody here know what a bamboo tree looks like? Behind me, my screen is a bunch of bamboo trees. Slim trunk. But these trunk and these trees are adaptable. They could get bent all the way to the ground by strong winds and bounce back without breaking. They are resilient to every direction of wind comes to them. They pivot, they change direction of the way they lean, but at the end, they stand strong. Leadership or agile leadership is like a bamboo tree. Adapting to changes, resilient. And why? We all know, ladies and gentlemen, the world is changing and changing rapidly. Technology is advancing faster than the blink of our eyes. And that is causing two things. Us consumers, we are shifting. Every day we need something better. We go to the newest technology. Industries are being disturbed because they have to change as fast as the shift of their customers. We all know that we live in an uncertain world today. Uncertainty has become the norm. That's why agility is much needed today. We need leaders like the bamboo tree. Could lean, pivot, change direction, but will always come back and stand strong. I would like to give you an example of what agility leadership means. 6 years ago, the whole world witnessed the COVID-19 pandemic. The world shut down overnight. Employees stayed home. Students stayed home. Restaurants were closed. Shopping malls were closed. No cars anywhere. The world shut down. And we all witnessed that. How did we survive? How did many leaders survive? How did many corporations nourished from that? For us, people, we stayed home. Companies where we work, our employers, agile employers, they shifted from in-person meetings to virtual, using many platforms. And one of them is the Zoom platform. So people, employees, were home, doing their work through their computer and achieving the goal of the company. Students stayed home, but schools did not shut down completely. They physically shut down, but they were teaching their students virtually. And for students who do not have computers, they use the phone. They use other facilities to teach people. Taxis drivers, their business went down when the COVID-19 pandemic happened. And many of them survived. Not only survived, but excelled. Why? Because they shifted their direction. And many other industries. So, how do we shift? How are we as leaders able to survive the change that are happening in the world, the advancement of technology? We need to follow 5 simple steps or have 5 elements in our leadership. And let me share with you in my back screen the first elements I'm going to be speaking about. Curiosity. Why do we need to be curious leaders? When we ask questions, what if, as a leader, what if, which is very important question. I'll give you an example. I take a special way or a specific road to go every day from my home to work. But I've asked myself a question. What if that road gets closed and I cannot take it to go to work? Then I started taking different road, knowing how long it's going to take me and is it easy to drive and what is the speed limit to get to my work. Leaders in every association, in every business, need to be curious. Curiosity is the first and the most important element in being an agile leader. What if we ask this question? What if this obstacle happened? What if this other thing happened? We have challenges. Each one of us as individuals, as employees, as leaders in any organization, we are faced by challenges. And if we ask the question, what if, we are prepared? So ask the questions and receive feedback. Feedback we receive from the team member. Here at leadership, we're always, our leader, always curious. They put a scenario in front of us and they say, what if we can change this? Or what if the situation changes? And they receive feedback. from every other leader in the club. And that's how we develop a plan for the future. As a club and other businesses, they could do the same thing. Even leading at our homes as family members, we always ask this question. If you want to be an agile leader, what if a fire happened and came from this side of the house? What preparation I'm going to have to survive, to go out without harming myself? So being curious is very important element in being agile leader. The second key element is to have the courage. Be courageous leader and experiment. During the COVID-19, I myself consider the Central of Disease Control, named by CDC, were the most courageous platform in the whole world, because they risked an experiment. They took the risk and experimented in a protein that was supposed to be used and developed to help other diseases. But during the pandemic, this is what they did. They used that protein and did trials on it. And they did not care for how many times they tried to develop a medication or a vaccine cure or to help us survive the COVID-19. And finally, they did it. After 9 months, we had vaccine. This is a courage that we need in every industries, in every business, if we want to survive the uncertainty and challenges. To be adaptable, to take risk and experiment and plan for our future. Here at leadership, at our club, we always take calculated that risk. And we plan for the future. Every meeting, we have 18 to 20 people who stand in front of using the virtual screen and stand and have a role as a speaker. But emergencies happen. Sometimes, the last minute, a member or a role player cannot make it. I've witnessed even in our meetings that the educational speaker cannot make it, or the Toastmaster of the day cannot make it. But because we know each other, we all are agile leaders here, we can find a replacement right away. We have tried that. We have planned. We have vision for the future. We've asked the question, what if this role player cannot make it to the meeting? What can we do? Do we shut down? Do we ignore that role? No. We have other people because we have our team and we can written for everyone. Training have been done connections being done, empowering each other has been done, so we could find a replacement for any role at the last minute. And that's the courage we've taken, or our leaders have taken in this club, to become agile and to be prepared and ready for every meeting. The third attributes or element of agile leaders is adapt quickly to changing circumstances. Just like the bamboo tree. Every business has to adapt to the changes, because changes are happening nowadays on a daily basis in the whole world. Let me give you an example of a platform that nourished during the shutdown and during the uncertain time, which is Toastmasters in general. Toastmasters, we used to have clubs around the world meeting in person. But this platform, they started in 2018, creating online meetings, having clubs to have their members from everywhere in the world and meet on virtual screen. They tried it. It worked. And during the COVID-19 pandemic, when everything was shut down, Toastmaster platform nourished. We had more membership in Toastmasters than ever during the pandemic. Why? Because that Toastmaster platform, they calculated. They asked the question, what if? How can we communicate with our members? And do we have the courage to do that? Which they have tried it, started in 2018. And when the time came, the uncertain time came, everybody was meeting just like the old time, but on a virtual stage. Leaders need to be flexible and ready for changing when the circumstances change on us. The fourth element is to be resilient. When we do experiments, when we have the courage to try new things, we don't succeed from the first time. Everybody knows that. The first time we stand as Toastmaster, that's a simple example, and we speak. We don't make any sense. And sometimes we can't speak. That's not failure. That's a learning experience. And balancing that, standing up again, be resilient is the key for learning, for being agile. All these setbacks we have as speakers, it made us stronger, as strong as the bamboo tree. And we keep moving forward. The last but not least is the collaboration element. In collaboration element, the best example I could give to anyone is what we do here at Leadership Speak. Every leader here is empowered to express their feeling. We have psychological safety for every member to participate in putting ideas on how to shape our club to be better. Futuristic plans is not done by one leader or by the ExCom. It's done by every member. Our members are empowered to share ideas. And that's why we are able to build partnership. Every member in our club feel that this club belongs to me. We have ownership in this club. And that's how solutions and advancement of this club is created, by shared opinion and applying it. So the 5 elements, ladies and gentlemen, we need to be agile leaders is curiosity, flexibility, courage, resilience, and collaboration. Agility leadership is not a choice anymore. It's a must. Not only to survive, but to excel. The good news is agility leadership could be taught. We could all learn. We could make that muscle of agility strong. By practicing these 5 elements to become agile leaders. Back to you, Toastmaster of the day.
Thank you so much, our educational speaker. Curiosity, courage, flexibility, resilience, and collaboration. I encourage all members and guests to take a moment, reflect on these points, take down some notes. I think back when I was a guest here at the very first meeting. One of the first impressions that I have was that people at Leadership Speak clearly showed a dedication, a commitment, a sense of ownership that goes way beyond many other Toastmasters clubs that I visited at that point of time, at least across 5 districts, over 50 clubs. And I wondered 2 questions. One question was, why? Why do it? And the second question is, if I were to participate in such an activity, would it benefit me? At that point of time, I would acknowledge I didn't have very clear answers. But what I did do was that since I wanted to improve on myself, I wanted to become better, I told myself, why not give it a try? And that was approximately 1 year and about another 1 or 2 months more. And here I am today, not only given an opportunity to lead and serve, but also as your Toastmaster of the day. And in this over 1 year of experience, I can indeed share with you that there are many moments in the club. For example, Gilda mentioned about the trainings that we do. It is through the trainings that we do, it is through the practices that we do, that we have the opportunity to even fine-tune the little details. What are some of the words that would help in your speech, the speech title, perhaps the background that you are using. Perhaps the framing can be improved. And all this skills do build up and are highly translatable into the work context, into your community context. As you consider similarly when you're presenting something, when you're sharing ideas. That's why we're all here, right? Leaders have ideas and we want to share them. We want to motivate people towards them. That we learn these skills and learn this thinking, learn the different perspectives, and translate them into our lives outside of Toastmasters, so that we can become the leaders that we want to be as we self-direct ourselves to be. Guest. The guest book is posted in the Zoom chat. If you're here, especially it's one of your first times, I highly encourage you, sign up the guest book, leave your contact, and indicate with us that you'd like to speak with us. Let us share more about the club, and you can also share what are some of the goals you are working on in your life outside of Toastmasters. And have your clubs or your experience in Toastmasters been able to support you? Perhaps there might be something about Leadership Speak that is able to support you. And I'm keen to explore that with you. Thank you so much, members and guests. And I'd like to move on with the meeting for our project speakers to come forth and share their perspectives. Typically in Leadership Speak, we have up to 5 speakers in addition to the leadership educational speaker, but at times we do have lesser speakers when our project speakers want to deliver a project that is longer, such as in the case of our first speaker today. I'd like to invite the first speaker, Mary Cusin, to the stage along with her evaluator, Guerdah and have Guerdah introduce to us the project that Marie will be doing.
Hello, all. Thank you. So Marie is gonna deliver from 10 to 15 minutes speech from Motivational Strategies, Level 3, Meeting Roles and Responsibilities. The title is The High Cost of Silence, an Agile Approach to Patient Safety. Mary requested that I focus on how relevance of the analogy is the transition between the medical environment, operating room, and the principles of agility crystal clear. Also feedback loops on how the demonstration of feedback as a tool to reduce human and financial is also convincing or not. Thank you. Back to you, Holmes. Good luck, Mary.
Thank you, Guerdah. About the meeting team of Agile leadership, Marie says this. She believes that leadership is about feedback loops. And this is in contrast to having all the answers. And in her speech today, she will show how versatility and structured roles prevent the deadly, costly waste of silence. Marie Cusin, The High Cost of Silence, an Agile Approach to Patient Safety. The High Cost of Silence, an Agile Approach to Patient Safety. Marie Cusin, over to you.
My department head asked the simplest questions in the world during handover. Does anyone have any doubts about the care plan for the patient in the room 4. Total silence. 12 caregivers in the room, 12 brains in execution mode, but no one stepping up with the leadership needed to voice a doubt. 12 brains probably thinking about their coffee or their endless to-do list. Six hours later, the patient was in respiratory distress, emergency resuscitation, transfer to intensive care. The cost, and someone finally dared to calculate the cost of tiny collective lapse, not only human, but financial. $8,000 in additional hospitality stay costs. $8,000 of silence. This tragedy is not a medical inevitability. It is an agility failure to turn that silence into safety. We will explore 3 levels for change. Understanding the psychology of silence through the lens of agile leadership. 2, adopting the Toastmaster framework to create vital feedback loops. 3, practicing immediate action to move from mere presence to ethical responsibility. Raise your hand mentally. How many of you have seen an error coming but said nothing because the boss seemed so confident? Yes, most of us. And what is the reason? First reason is hierarchy and fear. In medicine, people fear looking incompetent in front of their peers. It is the syndrome of the illegitimate question. We wait for the other person to speak, and no one does. Second reason, unclear responsibility. Sometimes, but not often, in emergencies, no one knows who is leading, who is deciding, who is monitoring. It is the Wild West in white coats. Everyone waits for someone else to drive first. In medicine, as in business, hierarchy often creates fear of looking incompetent. We wait for the other person to speak. And meanwhile, the project or the patient gets stuck. This is where agile leadership comes in. The leader is no longer the one with all the answers, but the one who enables answer to emerge through action and feedback. The word of the day is very important today. To make that shift, we must cultivate our versatility. An agile leader must be able to juggle technical expertise and the ability to listen the weak signal from the teams. Without the flexibility, we remain trapped in protocols that no longer fit reality. But how do we move from this psychological awareness to a concrete communication structure? The answer lies in a method that has been tested for 1,000 years. Excuse me, not 1,000 years, 100 years. The solution, Toastmasters framework, as a feedback loop. In an agile environment, each role is a safety barrier that delivers value step by step. Medical application of role. In a Toastmaster meeting, as in an effective medical team, each role is a safety barrier. The Toastmaster of the day is the facilitator. This person does not give orders. They manage the pace and make sure accurate silences give way to a smooth structure. This is the conductor who sets the pace and hands over the flow. With this role, awkward silences vanish because the structure is smooth. The evaluator, the debriefing lead. This is the art of agility. The evaluator does not criticize to hurt. They observe to improve. Excellent line placement, Lucas, but let's adjust your gesture for next time. That is the intentional adjustment in motion. The motion, the mindful participant, passion advocacy. This is the person who understands that speaking up is not boldness, it is ethical responsibility. The person who knows their voice matters, ask the question at the right moment. This structure is not just theory, it is a muscle we must train. Let us now move from structure to practice. I'm going to ask my department heads questions again. Does anyone have any questions or doubts? What question would you have asked to save this patient? For example, Tony. Tony, would you have a question to remove this situation? I think so. I will ask someone else. For example, Nicole White. Can you imagine what question you would ask to remove this situation? Picture a situation of, although you are not in a medical case.
Thinking.
Excuse me?
I'm thinking.
So anything you can imagine why this patient go to the emergency.
I wonder what happened.
Yes. There are so lots of things. And I know that you have so lots of solutions. And I answer to you, yes. They forgot to reduce the medication. So that's why she got in distress emergency. Thank you, Nicole. What I have just done is agility. Agility training. It is the ability to take your place, test an idea, and give immediate feedback. Agility is learning by doing. So, we have seen that failures, whether they cost $8,000 or a human life, are not caused by a lack of intelligence, but by a lack of structure and feedback. By using the Toastmasters role structure and developing our versatility, we turn our workplaces into agile, safe systems. If you learn quickly and create value through your feedback, you lead well. Leadership is not about commanding. It is about enabling the team to adapt together. So, the next time a colleague asks, any questions? Do not be the 13 silent brain. Raise your hand. Do it for your colleagues. Do it for the value you create. And above all, do it for the person who is counting on your voice. Toastmaster of the day.
Thank you, Marie. Questions, asking questions. It is indeed a core part of Agile, that we need to be able to build a community, and each of us need to take that initiative. The curiosity to find out more about the people we serve, and in Marie's context, patience, so that we can better serve their needs, not just our assumptions or our imaginations, but the needs of the people we serve. Thank you so much, Marie. Our second speaker today is Oltesh Thobias, and I also like to invite his evaluator, Rashmi Wideshi, to introduce to us the project that Oltesh is doing today. Rashmi.
Thank you. Thank you, Toastmaster of the Day, Holmes. Greetings to fellow Toastmasters and distinguished guests. Today I'm fortunate to evaluate Toastmaster Oltesh. He is doing his level 1, project 3 on the persuasive influence path. And the purpose of his speech is for him to practice applying feedback from his first speech and be versatile and adapt the changes and apply the changes to and present a well-structured speech. His personal goals from the feedback received were to pause effectively and slow down while sharing a key point, to allow the audience to process the information. Secondly, he had exceeded the time, so he wants to keep that in mind, to observe the time. And third challenge was he wants to project vocal variety and effectively deliver a key message. So now let's evaluate him and see his persuasiveness. Thank you. And over to you, Toastmaster of the Day. All the best to you this week.
Thank you, Rashmi. And I take special notice that you added the word of the day to the list of requests that he had. One of the versatility aspects of versatility that we have here. Our speaker, Oltesh, this is what he says about agility. Agility is the ability to move swiftly and nimbly through obstacles and challenges. Our capacity to adapt and adopt is what will propel us from good leaders to great leaders. Oltesh, Thobias, that's why. That's why. Oltesh, Thobias, over to you.
Thank you, Toastmaster Holmes. I want to invite each and everyone present today to think of the strength of the best performing team member in your environment. And also think of the weaknesses of the very same member. But also encourage you to take it a bit further and think of yourself. What are your areas of strength? But what are also your areas of weakness? I asked myself the same question. And it was difficult for me to find an answer. But I invited people who were close to me, who were also open to share who exactly I am. And the string of weaknesses was very long. But they all turned out to be true. But today I want to pick two areas that came out for almost everyone that I spoke to, trying to get that feedback. The first one that they said was, I like challenging authority. And the second one was, I fight battles that are not mine. And that struck me, but it was true. When I looked at my career, but also my life, both at work, at home, community, I saw some of these challenges. I took time to read and understand. I even hired coaches, went through therapy, just to get to know a little bit of who am I. And through these initiatives, I was informed that, Oltesh, whatever it is that you do, there's a trigger, there's something that happened in the past. And that's what drives everything that you do. And I took time to actually look back into my life. And yes, I actually got to know, and I said, aha, that is actually why. It was 1978 when my dad and I were riding in a public transport. And much as I don't remember the exact details at that time, one thing that is vivid to this very day was we were stopped by a traffic police. And I remember my father challenging whatever instructions that traffic police was giving, not only to us, but to everyone. And through my father standing and speaking and just addressing the issues based on what he believed, we were let go. And there were several other incidents that I saw. And I learned and I picked from my dad. And when the therapist told me about, my behavior of challenging authority, I was like, aha, that is where it came from. I just speak out. And I've been in a lot of trouble by challenging authority. My friends and colleagues always tell me that, Oltesh, please, it's time for you to stop. But I just get fueled, not in a bad way, but I just get fueled when I feel that the leadership. And when I talk about that, it's not only in the office, it's in every environment. I just feel that, yes, I actually need to address these issues. So that was the first incident. That informed me as to why I like, or why I tend to challenge leadership. The second one of fighting battles go back to 1977 as well. Getting ready to celebrate the inauguration of our then national party. We were invited to participate in a marching parade. We were given uniform. And I remember holding this pair of shoes that I loved so much. But all of a sudden, someone comes and grabs my pair of shoes and says, these are my shoes. And he took off running through 100 of students. I tried to catch up with him, but I failed. But then my friend Wilson, who was also my classmate, came to my rescue, caught this guy, grabbed our shoes, and we proudly walked home. And my friend saved me from the shame of participating in a parade with bare feet. Now, as I look back, I'm also informed that I tend to fight for the weakest. I tend to fight when the right thing is not being done, whether that battle is mine or it belongs to somebody else. Now, as I reflect on today's theme, which is agility, I'm reminded of Patrick Lencioni's suggestion that in order to address some of the dysfunctions of a team, we need to build trust. And we can only build trust if we get to know who are we and who is around us. So we need to get to know our colleagues. Why do they behave this way? We need to get to know them to a point where we say, aha, that is why. And when we get to that point of saying, that is why, then we become a team. Gilda talked about curiosity and about collaboration. And in order for us to become agile, we need to collaborate by getting to know those around us. And that is when versatility and agility kicks in. Back to you, Toastmaster of the Day.
Thank you, Oltesh. And then let's move to the third speaker. Our third speaker is Irfan Farooqui, and I also like to invite his evaluator, Nicole White, to share with us the project that Irfan is doing. Nicole.
Thank you, sir, Toastmaster of the Day. Hello, fellow Toastmasters and dear guests. I am pleased to introduce Irfan Farooqui, who is presenting from the Strategic Relationships Pathway, Level 4. The project is Public Relations Strategies. The purpose of this project is for Irfan to practice the skills needed to effectively use public relations strategies for any group or situation, and present a speech on how he will or might apply what he has learned by creating a public relations plan for a real or hypothetical group or situation. All the best, Irfan. Back to you, Toastmaster of the Day.
Thank you, Nicole. Irfan describes himself as a lifelong learning student, a lifelong student. aiming to understand human behavior and present the learnings like a storyteller. Irfan, Farooqui, when you are not in the room. When you are not in the room. Irfan, Farooqui, over to you.
Hello, Toastmasters. Let me start with a simple truth. Our reputation is established in the rooms where we are not present. And still, it decides our future. Do you agree with this statement? Okay, let me take you with me on this journey. A few years ago, I met a very talented professional, smart, versatile, as he had performed many roles, hardworking, consistent in results. But when his name was proposed for a leadership role in the higher management, the room went silent. Then someone said, he is good, but difficult to work with. And just like that, the decision was made. No debate, no defense. Because the real conversation had already happened somewhere else. In the meetings, in the rooms where he was not present. Isn't it right? We often think public relations is about social media, branding, visibility. But in reality, public relations begins much earlier. It begins in how we represent or respond to pressure. How we treat people who cannot benefit us. And how consistent are we when no one is watching? Because people are always observing, always forming impressions, always telling stories about us, even when we are not there. In Toastmasters, we learn structured communication. We try to become self-directed, versatile leaders. But outside this room, the world evaluates us not by what we say, but by what we repeat in behavior. Let me share another story. There were two leaders. One was highly visible. The other was quieter, less visible, but deeply consistent. And when a critical project came, people did not choose the most visible. They chose the one who was more trusted. Because visibility creates awareness, but consistency builds reputation. So what is public relations strategy at a deeper level? It is not about controlling what people say. It is about influencing what they experience. Because people don't promote your words. They promote their experience of you. And this brings to me for the three powerful truths that I believe. Truth one, every interaction is a signal. There are no neutral moments. A delayed response sends a signal. A dismissive tone sends a signal. A small act of respect sends a signal. Truth number two, people trust patterns, not performance. One great speech will impress people, but repeated behavior will define who you are. Trust is not built in moments. It is built in patterns. And truth number three, agility and versatility shape perceptions. In the world of human interaction, success rarely belongs to those who insist on a rigid my way or highway approach. It belongs to those who can read the moment and adjust without losing their core. Adopt, adapt to the situation. Align with the audience. Understand your followers. Because doing the right thing is important, but doing it in a way people can accept, that is what creates real influence. Let me now take this from thought to action. Here in our division, we are launching an HR professional community under the title Thrill. And Thrill will not be built on promotion, it will be built on experience. Every action within Thrill will be intentional. The people who will join will feel welcomed, not processed. They will feel heard, not judged. Meetings will make them better professionals, not just informed persons. Over time, people will not just know Thrill, they will trust Thrill. So as we move forward, let's not chase recognition. Let's build experience worth remembering. Because in the end, people may forget what we have said, but they will always carry what they felt being part of what we built. And that is what people will say when we are not in the room. Back to you, Toastmaster of the day.
Thank you, Irfan. Members and guests, we have come to the end of our sections on speakers. And guests, you may have noticed that when we have a meeting team for today on Agile leadership, not only did the educational speaker explicitly talk about her perspective of Agile leadership, but the three speakers that followed also shared with us what is their experience in terms of learning, in terms of improving themselves, which from an Agile perspectives are critical for us to maximize our value of our service, to maximize the growth that we are. I'd like to clarify here that it is not expected of the other three speakers to explicitly or implicitly talk about the meeting team per se. However, what I hope members and guests notice is that when a meeting team is being set on a leadership topic, an opportunity then is lighted up, that speakers and even some of our evaluators can link our perspectives on the leadership topic onto our speeches, into our sharings of our daily learnings and our daily lives, as well as how we commend and encourage others to grow. In essence, then, every single leadership meeting, it's an opportunity on the spot to apply leadership principles to the way we think, the way we comment and we speak, and subsequently, the way we live our lives. And to our guest, the guest book will be posted once again in the meeting chat. If you have yet had the chance to fill up your details and share with us your contact details, I highly encourage you to do so. And based on your request, we will connect with you and we will share more details with you. If you have any questions or any feedback, feel free, please write to us in the Zoom chat subsequently. We do have a post-meeting. You can stay back if you're available to have a chat, or leave your contact details in the guest book and we'll reach out to you. here. Then I'd like to invite the Zoom master to post the poll for the best effort speaker, as well as for the timer to share with us the timing of our speakers. Members and guests, you may have noticed our vote here is best effort speaker, not just the best speaker. This in essence also recognizes, especially for members who have been with us for a very long time, when you see someone has improved tremendously, that person deserves your vote. And not only that, write to them in private or in the meeting chat, WhatsApp or Zoom. Let them know what are the growth you have observed. Share with them your encouragement. Encourage them and share with them your feedback, if any, for them to grow even further. As we take a little bit more time for a few others to vote, I would simultaneously move on with the meeting to invite our general evaluator to come onto the stage. Our general evaluator today is Wahiga Gichinga. Give me a moment. Zoom master, can I have her spotlighted, please? Thank you, Zoom master. And Wahiga, when talking about the meeting team, she quotes from Jack Welch's words. An organization's ability to learn and translate that learning into action rapidly is the ultimate comparative advantage. Thank you, Wahiga, for reminding us of this excellent quote. And I would like to hand over to you, Madam General Evaluator.
Thank you. Thank you, Holmes. Thank you for running a powerful session. And we move on to another session where we get feedback. This is a session we get to learn. Did we understand expectations of our different projects, of our different roles, and how well did we execute them? And getting feedback is what engineers our agility, is what engineers our versatility, because it's from there that we decide to do different, to do better, to step up, and to show up in our element. And without much further ado, I want to invite the first evaluator to the floor of the house, and the first evaluator is Nellie Ayodo, who is going to be evaluating the toast. And when Nellie asks about the theme, what she says is that she wants to be able to be adaptable and agile whenever she takes a leadership position. Nellie, the floor is yours. Evaluate the toast.
Thank you very much, Wahiga. Guerdah opened her speech with a compelling explanation of agile leadership. This was effective because it drew in the audience and set a clear context for her message. The central idea of the speech was clear and relevant. Her voice was clear and audible. An area of improvement is she can incorporate vocal variety. By changing tone and pitch, this can make her delivery more engaging. Overall, this was a strong and well-prepared speech that effectively communicated its message. With a bit more attention to pacing and vocal variety, it could become more impactful. Back to you, Madam General Evaluator.
Thank you, Nellie, for that feedback. You had asked for me to check if you were able to give valuable feedback, and definitely it was valuable, highlighting what was very good with the toast and what needs improvement. I'm sure the toast speaker knows how to do it different in the next toast. Moving on to our second evaluator for the evening, or it's evening in Nairobi, I'm sure for the day wherever you are. It's Irfan, the long life learner, who is going to be evaluating the Toastmaster of the day. Please let's get Irfan on the screen and let's go to learn what his lifelong learning can translate to somebody else's life. Irfan, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much for being so responsive to whatever I had written about me. Well, Toastmaster of the Day, I must appreciate today's meeting was very well planned. And the best role that has to be done is by Toastmaster of the Day, who starts all the activities approximately 1 month ago. I was out of the country on vacations, yet I had been receiving all the messages from Toastmaster of the Day about the preparation of today's meeting. So I really appreciate that this is the real thing that the president of the club is establishing for everyone, or I would say even before him, all those who have done TMOD role, they have performed it very well organized role. Toastmaster of the Day invited people on the stage. Sergeant at Arms started the meeting. Meeting started well in time, and Toastmaster was in control of all those things. So Toastmaster of the Day introduced the theme and invited people to follow the theme. Toastmaster of the Day invited timer and let us know what would be the timing. The declaration was given in the start. We had a toast in the beginning, and then Toastmaster started the activity of the prepared speakers. He invited every speaker, gave good introduction about the speaker, and he was very vigilant about observing how the speakers are performing their speeches, because at the end he concluded a very good sentence, appreciating every speaker, that all the speakers who have prepared their speeches already, but when it came to delivering the speech, they aligned their speeches with the theme and word of the day. So that shows that Toastmaster of the Day was vigilant and listening carefully what people are saying. This whole activity is really appreciable, very well controlled, and timing were also very good. Transmission from one area to the other area was declared that we are now transmitting to the next stage. It was not simply put on us, but it was clearly declared. And then at the end, he has started the evaluation process, handed over the process to the evaluator. I, at the end, would conclude that it is difficult to say his voice was good, modularity of voice was there, face gestures were there. He was talking to us, not delivering something speech in a speech way. He was communicating with us. I really appreciate Toastmaster of the Day activity. Back to you, General Evaluator.
Thank you, Irfan. You were keenly listening, you were observant, and you gave a detailed feedback on various aspects of what stood out today for the Toastmaster of the Day, which I agree with. I actually enjoyed the feedback you gave and keep giving good feedback that is supportive and not judgmental to other speakers. Moving on to our other evaluator, Tony Bratschitsch, who is evaluating our education speaker. And Tony, what Tony had to say about the theme of the day, he says Agile leadership is a mindset that provides adaptability and resilience to any challenge. Tony, the floor is yours.
Thank you, GE. Fellow Toastmasters and most welcome guests, and especially you, Gilda. Gilda, as you know, I am evaluating your keynote style speech designed to engage the audience with a compelling message. I evaluated your speech using 5 whys. What was 5 W's? What was said, who you connected with, the way your message was delivered, when key moments occurred, and why the message mattered or should matter to me and the audience. The what, the first W. An agile leader, as you said, is someone who can shift through different styles of leadership as the circumstances demand, such as COVID-19. And that's because agility is built into the leadership styles. We just have to know to be able to use it. The second W, the who, audience. We are our self-directed leaders. So that is a given. The way, and the way was really the pillar, the strength of this presentation. You explained to us the 5 aspects of agility: curiosity, courage, flexibility, resilience, and collaboration. And you went through details. The when. There was moments in your presentation you used good examples, like with the bamboo itchy, I believe it was called, and COVID-19, that disaster. Now, my recommendation for improvement is that the 5th Y, 5th W, the why. Why should the message matter to the audience? And in my opinion, that's important because we need to feel the pain that compels us to take action based on your message, such as if you're a leader and COVID-19 happens, look at all the deaths that occurred if the right action is not taken. Or what if there's a family or a business problem that comes up? Isn't it better to thrive than just survive or perish? So we need a hook at the beginning to draw us in. So my suggestions are open with that sense of urgency, like with the COVID-19 example, or something that happens every day, like a family problem or a leadership problem. Then close with a call to action, such as you tell us to look at those 5 aspects of agility leadership that you explained, to evaluate ourselves so that not only as a leader of agility can we lead through change, be the change. We need to be the change so others can follow. In summary, your professional style keynote was well structured, very engaging, clear directions with guidelines, and you spoke with conviction. I suggest you add the extra hook, the pain points at the beginning, and add the extra oomph, the call to action at the end, to bring everything together to polish off this very nice keynote presentation. Thank you, Gilda, and back to you, General Evaluator.
Great feedback, Tony. Well structured to demonstrate what you wanted to put through for Gilda. And to highlight some of the things that I thought were very good in your evaluation is your unique way of evaluating. You're quite analytical and you followed a critical thinking way. You had 5 W's by which you used to evaluate the speech, and that brought out the aspects of the speech you wanted her to understand how she did quite well. You brought out the areas of improvement in a practical way, in such a way that she can be able to translate and be able to take the feedback and implement in the next speech. One area of improvement is time, but definitely I wanted you to go on and on because the kind of feedback you gave was one that would help Gilda to build on her professional speaking and be a star in her speaking. Great, we move on to the next evaluator. And the next evaluator is Guerdah. Bratschitsch. Yes, you have Guerdah on highlighted, spotlighted, I think that's the right word. And her reflection about the speech, about the theme of the meeting is agile leadership cannot be separated from an agile mindset. It all starts from within. The inner clarity is what lights the way and pioneers the team forward. Guerdah is evaluating Mary's speech. Guerdah, the floor is yours.
Thank you. $1,000 of silence. The project or the patient, what messages they are. The story itself, Marie, was clear and successfully conveyed its meaning beyond the surface level. Yeah, you asked me about the transition. Yes, also the transition were clear. Making it also engaging and impactful. I like the background visuals. They reinforce your message and have a strong final impression. Your presentation closed effectively with a clear takeaway. You also demonstrated strong delivery skills with good vocal variety and purposeful gestures that help maintain audience interest. Your use of humor, particularly laughing when explaining the tragedy, added contrast and made the message more memorable. Your presentation closed effectively. For improvement, I'd recommend shortening some of the pauses to maintain a smoother flow and keep the audience engaged. Additionally, you asked about the feedback loop. It's convincing, but not enough. It's not enough. I would recommend you add some ideas to the stories, not depending on the story. So the message would be consistently reinforced throughout your speech, and giving another examples of feedback would be better in clearing your story, crystally clearing your story. Overall, your speech was a good example of learning by doing. Thank you, Marie. Back to you, General Evaluator.
Thanks, Guerdah, for that feedback. You highlighted what was good in the speech for Marie and for how she needed to improve, which came out well. You gave examples of where she could do better. And perhaps my feedback to you also, in addition to your good way of evaluating, is to expound on a point so that it's clearer not only to Marie, but to the audience, because we are the audience. And it will be important for us to know how to do things. Should we take on a similar speech like Marie, or should we be in a similar situation? And one of these is that, like you talked about, the convening not being enough for the feedback loop. Okay, I hung right there as one of the evaluators, and I would imagine perhaps there's somebody else who would want to understand what does that exactly mean? How did it come about? And how exactly could she avoid it? So expounding, and especially because you have time, you have not utilized all your time, would be very good to educate also the audience so that they are in place or they understand how they can do it for themselves. And also, for example, if you highlight the strengths, like what the ones she had, like humor, it's good. Yes, she had humor. Indicated. You had asked me to check if you give an example. What was humorous? And then perhaps also indicate what was the impact of that humor, both to herself and to the audience. That way, it is teaching, not only to Marie, but also to us, so that we become better speakers as we learn from what Marie did. Great. Moving on to the next evaluator, who is Lashmi. Lashmi Udeshi, Zoom Master. Let's spotlight Lashmi. So Lashmi also responded to the question about the theme, and for her, Agile leadership is about staying adaptable, responsive, and people-focused in a constantly changing environment. She gave an experience as a president and finance manager. She says, I have learned that leadership is not about rigid plans, but about listening, learning, and adjusting while keeping the team and goals aligned. Rashmi, the floor is yours to evaluate Oltesh Thobias.
Thank you to our General Evaluator, Wahiga. Toastmaster Oltesh. That's why. What a title. It was very interesting and a conversation starter from the beginning. And it brought us to think what this story is going to be. And as you dwelled into the whole story and you came with an hook saying, inviting us to look at our strengths and weaknesses. And from that, you went on to explain how we can explore ourselves and always find the weaknesses. And when there are challenges, you said that you used to challenge the authorities. And Oltesh, you achieved your purpose by presenting a very engaging, thought-provoking story relevant to your speech purpose. Your versatility with effectively using the stage was visible. We saw you making key movements, moving to left, right, and coming to center. And when you had a key point, you came forward and let us know what that message was. Your message and key points were well noted. But here's something that while your examples were there, like you mentioned about right from starting a journey of how your first in 1979, how your argument when your father opposed the police and how you came back, your father came back with an argument and how he won the challenge, and that brings you to your that's why. And that's why you are always challenging and you are encouraging people to challenge and look inside their weaknesses. While your examples, you had shared 2 examples, how I will like you to challenge and improve on was if you could give, instead of lot more stories, list 1 example and give a better call to action and close it in a way that we become more as audience, we become more engaged with your stories. It will have made more impactful ending. Overall, I like the structure, I like the versatility and the ending, and I encourage you next time to come up with a better closing. And you have also met the timings, and you did a great job. Over to you, Toastmaster, General Evaluator.
Thank you, Rashmi. You had asked me to check whether you are confident in delivering that feedback, and definitely you were confident. You looked at us and you smiled when you gave, which is a signal that you were not tensed and you were relaxed as you gave feedback. You gave very good feedback to Oltesh on how the impact of the stories he picked, the structure of his speech, and areas you felt that he should improve, and it came out quite clearly. And I'm sure he is going to pick on that. And something else I liked is that you picked up on the areas that he had feedback in the first session that he was checking on, that is timing. And which is good that he actually met that criteria. It means that you were alert, you were checking on the objectives, in addition to the general objectives of the speech, on the feedback that he needed to meet. And there's one more I didn't hear. I bet that maybe is what was caught up with time, and you would be able to share it with him. But generally, that was good feedback, and thanks for that good feedback, Rashmi. And we have the last evaluator, not the least, but just the last one, evaluating our dad speaker is our VPE, Nicole White, and I see she's already spotlighted. And yes, her thoughts again about agile leadership is leaders are expected to lead with an agile mindset. So to her, agility is a mindset, because that's a sure way to achieve the best outcome in what we do. Nicole, the stage is yours.
Thank you, Madam General Evaluator. Irfan, you delivered an inspiring speech, and I'll begin with where you excelled. First, your opening. You engage the audience effectively by asking a question and allowing space for reflection. Your pause was intentional, and your vocal variety as you transitioned into your story helped bring your message to life. Because I remember when you clearly say, "Let me," and you took us there. Second, your Zoom presence. You maintained strong eye contact by looking directly into the camera, which created a sense of connection with your audience. That presence made your delivery feel confident and engaging. Now, one key recommendation to help you elevate even further, and that's your content in relation to the project objective. So the purpose of this project is to demonstrate and explain a clear public relations strategy. Through your stories, I could see elements of public relations, particularly in how leaders shape perception and build your personal brand, because you mentioned 2 leaders, and even touch on yourself a little bit as the way forward regarding the district closer to the end of, and the plans you have, or the district per se, closer to the end of your speech. However, the strategy itself was not clearly defined or outlined. So to strengthen this, I encourage you, Irfan, to clearly present a specific PR strategy. For example, what the strategy is, how it would be implemented, and in what context it would be used. So at the end of the day, there's something for us to the audience, a takeaway. I mean, where the pain points, what did you learn, and so on. This will make your message more practical, applicable, and fully aligned with the project. So in summary, you demonstrated strong delivery, engaging vocal variety, and confident presence. By clearly defining and explaining a public relations strategy, you will elevate your speech and fully meet the project objective. All the best, Irfan, in your future speeches. Back to you, Madam General Evaluator.
Thanks, Nicole, for that feedback. You gave your feedback like a speech. You didn't break in and had no long pauses. You did look like you were thinking through each of the points, and I think that was so powerfully done. You also had a powerful Zoom presence, and I think I want to borrow that also in future, so that one is so clearly saying. And I think what stood out was the fact that your hearts were out there, and we could see your body language and your gestures and how expressive you are, and of course you were measured with it, and supported your feedback, which is very good. One thing you're right about your feedback is highlighting the impact of the strengths Irfan had. And I think for me, that of course demonstrates to him how he is doing with the audience, and which came out quite well. You also highlighted the areas of improvement in a practical way that he can borrow and run with it. So thanks so much for that feedback. I'm sure it's going to be valuable to Irfan. And ladies and gentlemen, that marks the end of our feedback session. And yes, that's how we do it for our guests. That's how we tell each other how well we've done, how well we understood what was meant to be done. And I would request our Zoom master to put up the best efforts poll so that we vote. And as that happens, I would also request our timer to put the timing reports in the chat so that we can know how each of us did, each of the evaluators did with timing. And as we conclude that, I would want to invite to the floor the grammarian to tell us how we have been doing with the King's language. Nellie Ayodo, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Wahiga, the General Evaluator. The word of the day was used by almost all the speakers: Guerdah, Holmes, Gilda, Marie, Rashmi, Oltesh, Irfan, and Wahiga. Holmes used it the most. There were a few phrases that were improper, For example, one speaker said, want to survive? I would suggest that you say, want to survive. Another speaker said, boss so confident. Maybe they meant to say, boss was confident. There was also another phrase, when I look at my career, I think that should have been the right one. Other phrases that were good was highly translatable, silence through the lens of agility, evaluator, the debriefing lead, intentional adjustment in motion, ethical responsibility to speak up, visibility creates awareness. Those are very beautiful words that were used by our speakers. All in all, the grammar was used very well, and I'd like to encourage other speakers to use the word of the day, versatility. Back to you, General Evaluator Wahiga.
Thank you, grammarian. You were indeed listening. And yes, you have highlighted where we didn't quite understand the use or at the slip of the tongue caused us to move in a direction that words didn't line up with the requirements of the English language, but also highlighted what we did so well and in the use of the word of the day, versatile. At this juncture, I want to give feedback, the feedback from the General Evaluator desk. And I think all I have is a lot of positive feedback. This meeting was well run, well planned. You know, there wasn't a lot of noise right from the word go in the WhatsApp group, but somehow we all know what we needed to do and we showed up when we needed to do. And when moments came where the agility button was pressed, I think we responded with the zeal and the versatility the moment called. And actually just today, I don't know whether we were just testing how agile we can be as a team. We had 4 of our role takers taking more than one role. You know, we had Nellie Jane, Nellie Ayodo, Irfan and Guerdah. They all have more than one role. And it's to commend them because of the commitment to ensure that we run this meeting like pros that we have always done, and they stepped up to the moment that called onto them. And I think that's commendable for all of them. We had all our role takers logging in before the meeting began. At 4:28, I don't know what to translate that to into right now or for the other timelines, but 2 minutes to the start of the meeting, every role taker was in the room. I know how it feels when sometimes 15 minutes in, there's still somebody who hasn't logged in. And I can tell you the Toastmaster of the day is impaired because they're trying to balance moving forward and checking if you're in. So when we have checked in area, I think we make the success of the Toastmaster of the day role quite good. And I like the reminder by President Holmes in the main group that yes, as much as we have come in early, we should endeavor to ensure that we log in by 15 minutes before the start of the meeting. There were great conversations before the meeting started. Paramjit held the session quite well. He engaged everyone, brought up the issue of the legacy program coming back, and that had a bit of people talking and thinking about whether they want to go there. And I think it was a good moment for that conversation to come because yes, it's just new. And I think the question is what next for those who have done many of their pathways and they're finding out what they need to do next. So it kept that moment alive. And I'm sure any of our guests who showed up, who came in at that moment, felt the warmth with one another. Moving on to the Toastmaster of the day, you set the tone from the word go. You had great energy, great engagement, and I think I could tell how you connect with this theme because I think it has brought out your best element. I have not seen you this animated before. I have not seen you this excited about the topic. like I have seen today, you took command of the floor, you set the tone, you were passionate about the topic of the day, you had fun, and I think that translated to the energy there was in the room. Something else that came through is how educative you were with the different segments of the meeting. You gave a little hints here and there of why they are important and why we should embrace. And I think for any guests in the room, understand why we do what we do and the impact it has to our great speaking. Great speeches, I think one of the strengths as highlighted by the Toastmaster of the day is that we had all our speakers aligning their speech to the theme of the day and made it such a powerful meeting where agility is really emphasized. And I think it's a call for all of us to be agile in our respective lives outside even Toastmasters. I think it's a good call because I think with the uncertainty as highlighted by Gilda at the beginning, I think the only way to respond to life and respond it in a way that we remain relevant is to be agile. The evaluators have given feedback in a very thoughtful way. They embrace critical thinking. They embrace the sandwich method. They were supportive to speakers. And I think they created an environment where speakers want to keep roaring to go and developing themselves. That's what we come here every day to do. And my parting shot is, and to even the newbies, the guests who are in our meeting and those that have really been excited by what we are doing, is the reason why we do what we do, the reason why we engage in personal development is to echo the words of Abraham Lincoln, the 16th president of the United States. He said this: however tall your grandfather was, you have your own growing to do. So we are here doing our own growing. Back to you, Toastmaster of the Day, President Holmes.
Thank you, Madam G. With our evaluation section done, we are left with the last few parts of the chapter meeting itself. First, I'd like to invite our thought of the day, Guerdah Amujakish, to share with us, after listening to the whole meeting, what are some of the takeaways that members and guests could have and what she learned from the meeting. Over to you, Guerdah.
Thank you. Agile leadership, learning, adapting, delivering value. Good leadership isn't about having all the answers from the start. It's about how quickly you learn and effectively bring others along with you. Leaders who wait for certainty before acting are leaders who arrive late. Stay curious and test early. Make small bets and find out what's true before it's expensive to be wrong. Lead with intent. People don't just follow direction, they follow purpose. Enable others by giving them context, trust, and room to grow. Adapt together because no one navigates change alone. And always deliver value. Everything we do must translate into outcomes that actually matters. Through the pressure, stay grounded, keep improving. Elevate your leadership not by title, but by the difference you make in people and results. If you are learning quickly and consistently delivering value, you are demonstrating the strong leadership with exceptional versatility. That is Agile leadership. Keep moving, improving fast, and keep bringing others forward with you. Back to you, Toastmaster of the Day.
Thank you so much, Guerdah. Next, I'd like to invite the PR Master to share with us who are our best effort speaker and best effort evaluator. PR Master. Congratulations, Oltesh. Congratulations, Tony. Well deserved. Okay, now I'll switch my hat a little bit. Less of a TMOD, more of a club president. I'd like to spend some time to speak with the guest. Guest, if you are able to, it will be awesome if you can both switch on your camera while you speak with your microphones on. Let's see. Leah Minja, are you available to speak?
Yes, Mr. President.
Hello, Leah. How are you? How do you find the meeting?
I'm very fine. It has been an insightful meeting. I believe I'm recurrent guest to most of your meetings here, and I tend to learn so much from the speakers and the speeches that are getting delivered every now and then. It has been an insightful meeting, and I have a lot of takeaways with me in terms of learning and growth, and I look forward to attending more of your meetings in the coming times. Thank you very much, Mr. President, and over to you.
Thank you, Leah. Next, let me see. Sophia Gichinga, Sophia Gichinga, are you available to speak? Sophia? So I see Sophia has a mute. Has the camera on.
Masters and guests, I'm walking in darkness. I've enjoyed the session. It's quite insightful, and I've gotten a few tips on how to carry myself as I pursue this journey of growth into smart. Thank you, and back to you, Mr. President.
Thank you so much, Sophia. We have another account also called Sophia from Zumardi Toastmasters Club. Is that a different
I'm still the one, but I had initially logged in that machine.
I see.
But left it running for my daughter to follow up.
I see. Please have a safe travel. Thank you so much for joining us. I think you stayed almost throughout the meeting, in my impression. Thank you so much, Sophia.
Okay, welcome.
We also have Yvonne Codrington. Yvonne, I know you're in your kitchen. Are you available to speak? If you are, let us know. If not, it's okay.
Oh, sir, I am not available to speak.
Okay, thank you so much, Yvonne. Well, with that, I end my guest interaction section. And then as TMOD as well as club president, I will also be ending the meeting. But before the meeting officially ends, I'd like to extend my invitation to all members as well as guests, fellow self-directed leaders here. We will have a post meeting where we will have table topics. And I look forward to some of our sharing collectively on how we can all become better self-directed leaders, better agile leaders. With that, I'd like to have the Zoom master as well as the Zoom host to stop the recording.